Hi, this is Dave speaking. What was I going to say? I'm going to be talking about quite a few things today. Sorry that I haven't uploaded any more videos, in a while. It's just I've been busy sorting out stuff. Obviously I've got work and stuff like that. But the first thing, the main thing I was going to talk about is I was going to talk about dogs. I've noticed that a lot of people seem to judge dogs by their breed when it's nothing, they seem to judge aggressive dogs to do with their breed, but it's nothing to do with the breed. I've seen all sorts of dogs. I've seen all different kinds that have been aggressive, but then I've seen all different kinds that have been, passive, that have been really friendly, great with kids, great with old people, well, everyone in general, to be honest. And this is going from pit bulls, that people seem to think are extremely vicious dogs, even though the funny thing is pit bulls were bred to fight dogs. See, I still think that's wrong, them fighting dogs and have that in them, but they're more likely to go for a dog than they are a human being, because it is in their genetics to listen and be more of a people, a people dog, more than like most of the other breeds. You've got you got Alsatians, Rottweilers, Doberman, stuff like that were bred to bite humans, so that's why they have a more tendency to bite. But to be honest, to me, it's not about the breed, or anything like that. It's about the owner. If the owner do not raise the dog properly, then it's down to them. It's them who are to blame. And for a lot of these breeds that exist that are more aggressive, it's down to us, human beings. It's down, obviously not us literally, but it's down to the founders of the breeds, the people that bred other dogs. There's dogs that pay the price for us modifying their modifying breeds and stuff like that. Say for instance the English Bulldog. The English Bulldog can't naturally give birth. They have to have a cesarean, because the fact is the puppy's head is too big for the mother. And the same as the fact is with the nose, they can't smell as good as other dogs. That's another effect. So they tend to use eye contact more, and that tends to result in, can result into dogs fighting just for eye contact. That's a sign of challenging. But for them, that's what they use a lot. Another example, I'm going to tell you a story about a Labrador that had bit a child. Okay, this Labrador had been the friendliest dog for years. It got to an older sort of age, and the reason why it bit this child was because it turned out, after they'd done the autopsy, that the dog had a brain tumour. If they discovered this, then they could have saved this dog, and they may have even saved the child. But obviously a brain tumour ain't something that's easy to notice. No, it's not visible the same as for example like breast cancer, or if you have cancer on other parts of the body. It's a brain tumour. It's not really easy to see when there's a skull that's stopping any lump from appearing. But as I said, that was a Labrador. I've seen a few Labradors that have been a lot more aggressive, but then I've met a lot of Labradors that have been friendly, been really docile. Same as I've met loads of, I'll put another example. I've noticed that little dogs tend to be a lot more aggressive than big dogs. I don't know if this is all because a lot of people tend to babyfy them, so they end up with small dog syndrome that they can get if you babyfy them. This is another thing that can be our problem. You see, it's not about curing a problem, it's about preventing it. It's about seeing, it's about preventing all these risks from happening. May not be able to 100% stop it, but if you know that you've put on the best you can, you don't hit your dog, you don't shout at it like a raving lunatic, when it does something wrong, and that you got to get the timing right when you take a dog off. You got to let it know what it's done wrong, or otherwise it won't understand. See, Another thing that people tend to make a statement with facial expressions, because us people, we study a lot by face. Face tells us a lot of things. Some things dogs have some similar, facial expressions that we do. Some they may have even picked up because of us. But for example, when someone, say when a dog's gone for a wee or poo in your house and you've come back and you've seen it, and you're like, oh my god, this damn dog has gone for another poo in my living room, and you just want to grab it and, well, probably some people want to rip its head off for that time being while they're angry. But you see, the thing is, if you tell the dog off wrong for doing something, especially if you're not there, I mean, if you haven't got a garden or anything for it to go out, or hasn't been trained to use outside, then it's going to go anywhere. I mean, when a puppy's born, normally they're born inside a house, and they tend to, where they can't really go outside because they haven't had all the injections and stuff, and they're still vulnerable to all diseases and whatever else, like all infections and stuff, that they tend to end up, they tend to have to go inside the house, so they don't have any boundaries at that time. And obviously you can't start trying to discipline them when they're newborn, because the fact is the mum may not be happy with that. but as I was saying, we tend to mistake dogs' facial expressions for something else. Like, for instance, we think they look guilty when we've caught them, gone for a wheel poo, or if they've eaten something. But the dogs may not say anything guilty. They may be feeling fear. Because the fact is, you imagine being a dog. Okay, you go to the toilet, and where dogs have short memories, they forget things. They forget things a lot easier than what we would. If an owner comes back and they tell this dog off or they smack it, the dog, that is traumatised the dog, so the dog's going to remember that, and then it's going to start getting scared, and then it'll wee and poo before the owner comes back, and then the owner will find wee and poo again, but it won't recognise the situation. Rubbing its face in it, that does not do it either. Okay, that is nasty. I mean, would you like it if you had your face rubbed in your piss and shit? No, I do not think so. If you do, then obviously you're weird, but hey, each to their own. Really, I'm just on here to say, before you get a dog, if you get a puppy or a rescue, look up about any breed that you're planning to get. If you've got a favourite breed, then it's more likely that you're probably going to want that breed and you're going to pick it, regardless of what anyone says or anything like that. But make sure you look up the breed, you look at that, you could give it the right amount of exercise, how good temperament tends to be with that breed, because sometimes it can be to do with breed and temperament sometimes. You need to find out, like, if you're going to get puppies from breeders, that they are legit, they're not just some people that are not new. You want to get an experienced breeder, people who know what they're doing, who's got license, who has proof that they're with a vet and that their puppies have all the checkups and everything, and that the mother has all the checkups. You want to make sure that you want to make sure that everything is legit, okay? And you don't want to get it from any, like, I can't remember what these places are called where puppies are bred. It's almost like, okay, this ain't looking good for me now when I'm trying to explain things, but the best thing is to get from proper breeders who has all the payment, the pedigree documents and stuff like that. Make sure you look at the mother, how she acts, what her temper's like before deciding to get a dog. If she's aggressive and stuff like that, then it may be advisable not to get them puppies. But if you see that the dogs are pretty calm, and and don't go with this whole that they're trying to dominate you, or they're being submissive, because the fact is dogs aren't trying to dominate. All they want is your love, affection, okay, and someone that just want to follow you. But it doesn't mean that you have to treat them like a piece of crap. or think that they're lower than you, because the fact is, never disrespect nature, because otherwise nature will come around and it will bite you on the backside. It will turn on you, or it will turn on your family. If you treat a dog nasty, it will probably either end up vicious or extremely scared and or insecure, and all these things just ain't good. You know, show it love, but not too much love, like stupidly. So it gets, you know, practice it. You know, if it has separation, you know, try and prevent it from getting separation anxiety. The way of doing this is by when it's young. You know, if you have to at first, leave it for, you know, 10 minutes, 20 minutes as it gets to a certain age, and just gradually build it up. Obviously don't leave it too long, because that's not fair. I mean, you should never leave a dog, but especially a puppy, for more than 4 hours. Another thing, if you have children, don't leave the dog and your child in a room together on their own, because a child may do something wrong that may hurt the dog. It's already been, you know, proven that the highest percent of dog attacks is on children, because children don't understand the same as you know, adults or teenagers would. You know, especially small children. You know, I'd say keep an eye on the child, you know, properly, from obviously the age of 0 up to the age of 10. I would say always keep an eye. You know, you're probably adolescent as the kid gets older and they get more understanding, but definitely don't leave them when they're, you know, when a kid's like, when they can, especially when they can walk, or actually as soon as they can crawl, up to, you know, up to at least the age of 7, I would say. You know, because you have to make sure this kid don't accidentally hurt the dog. And you know, the kid may not intentionally mean to hurt the dog, but the dog can't talk. The dog can't say, "Hey, leave me alone." You know, back off. You know, normally when a dog's sad enough, they tend to walk away. But you know, if you're not in the room, you keep an eye on this sort of thing, and the kid keeps pestering the dog, and you can see the dog's getting more agitated. You know, then the dogs will be left with the last resort, and that is to bite. You know, dogs do things differently to how we do things. You know, we can use our voices and stuff like this. And sorry, I'm going to have to go because I've got the phone ringing.